Hey everybody, welcome to sales training module number 1. We are talking about creating a physical and mental environment for success. You've got me, Joe Ariotto, and my good friend, Josh Hirsch. Say hi, Josh.
Hi, Josh. Hello, everyone. Excited to get this thing going.
Me too. So this is one of the more critical elements for any salesperson is truly being intentional about the environment that is around you, both physically and mentally. And so we're going to dive into some very specific details here, but this I think is going to start your training off with a bang and have a huge impact right away. So let's dive in here. Josh, read us this quote.
Mr. Louis Pasteur, chance favors the prepared mind. This is probably one of my favorite quotes, Joe, because there are so many of us that just kind of wing it. And every single time I've prepared for anything in my life, I've crushed it. Anytime that I don't prepare, I don't know. Like it's a hit or miss kind of thing. And the one thing I remember one of my mentors said to me years and years ago is like, if you had to have brain surgery, would you want your brain surgeon winging it and going, I don't know. Let's just try this today. Let's just figure this out and see if this one works. No. So why do the rest of us feel okay with doing anything besides that? And by the way, some salespeople and a lot of salespeople that we work with make as much as a brain surgeon. So you should be equally as proficient and equally as strong at what you do.
That's right, and it really is true. I think anybody can attest to that. The harder you, that you train for things, the more prepared you are. It seems like the luckier you seem to get. It's just you're ready for things. So we're going to help you with that today. So starting out with physical environment, I want you to take a good look at this picture here. You've got two images, one on top, one on bottom. They're very different pictures of the same desk. And I want you to be honest. Which image looks more like your workspace? If you're watching this on a desktop right now, look at your desk. What does your desk look like? Does it look like the top one? Does it look like the bottom one? To be honest, I don't like either of them. The next slide has the picture of what I want my desk to look like.
It's so true though. And, some of us are somewhere in the middle, depending on the day, the time of day. For me, I clean my environment every night and start off the next day. But I know that I have notepads and, a stapler out or something. I mean, I have stuff that, that builds up throughout the day, but it's just, you can't let it get too far down the lane,
And it's easy to do. And so tip number 1, just to right to start off with, there are sometimes things that we just grow accustomed to. It's like it becomes part of our blind spot that we don't even see that, wow, until you open your eyes, you don't realize wow, my desk is really messy. You start noticing other things like my desktop, like on my computer, has icons all over the place. They're not organized. It's just, and you start looking around your office and you're like, my office is a mess, and my house is a mess, and my life is a mess. And so we want to help you get all that organized and be intentional about your environment.
Yeah, and think about this. If your clients and the people around you, I mean, heck, your partner, significant other, whomever else, if they saw your environment, would they think that you're professional or that it was chaos and disorganized? It's like a lot of things in life. There are people that use that as their badge of honor. Yeah, there are papers all over my desk, but I know where everything is.
Right.
Right. That doesn't really help you. And, a cluttered environment creates a cluttered mind, whether you like it or not, whether you think it's true or not. It's absolutely 100% true. If your environment isn't clear for work, clear for takeoff, if you will, that becomes a really big problem in how you do things on a regular basis.
That's right. And there's a quote that will come up later that will circle back on this conversation. But I want to encourage you right now to pause this video, and I want you to go through these questions. Actually write out your answers to these questions. Feel free to submit these answers to us for review, but ask yourself these questions. And just going through that, just going through that exercise can reveal a lot for you, and taking action on those can do a ton for you.
And we actually will have a PDF as well for this. So we'll share a PDF so you can go through it on your own and take a look. And I think, what Joe is saying is not necessarily like reporting to us, with what you did or what you didn't do, or how good or bad your environment is or whatever else. There might be something you go, yeah, I don't know what you mean by having an environment that's welcoming to others, right? And so as an example, if you take a look at Joe's background or my background, there's not a lot to get distracted by. And we've both set our backgrounds up on our screens purposefully because this is what we do. We're always on the screen. We don't want it to be something that is weird in the background or distracting or moving in the background or whatever else. You have to create the environment that's really helps you be more equipped to have the conversations that you want to have.
That's right. And again, the question in the upper left, how is your environment impacting your performance? By the way, this is my goal for my desk, and it looks pretty darn close to that, but that's my picture of just like a peaceful place where I could is welcoming to work.
Hashtag desk goals.
Desk goals.
Getting late enough.
Yeah, so this is the quote that I was referencing, or the question that I was actually, it's not really a question in my mind, but how you do anything is how you do everything. This is really, this quote comes from a lot of different people. I first heard it in martial arts. My martial arts instructor was saying, how you prepare your gi before your practice, on your mat, is how you do everything in life. How you tie your belt is how you do anything in life. And there's actually a simple trick that a lot of employers use when they're walking a new potential hire out to their car. You walk them out and you observe how they keep their car. Is their car a mess? Is it clean? Is it dirty? It could be old, but impeccably clean. You're probably going to show up at work and do this. Your desk is going to be the same way. It's probably the same way your garage is. It's probably the same way your closet is. How you do anything is how you do everything. And so there's this concept that Josh and I were taught a long time ago about your desk being like a pilot's cockpit. Everything for a pilot is very intentionally designed, including the ergonomics of how the handle is, and each switch with each purpose is very intentionally laid out for maximum efficiency.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, I mean, if you look at the cockpit just on the screen in front of you, there's no part of their environment around them that they would have to get up and move around and go do something, reach across their co-pilot, their partner. Everything is quite literally reaching forward and around and is set up in that environment. And it's the same thing. Like, I don't know about you, but if you've ever gone to reach for a pen at your desk and there is not a pen at your desk, why is that? You're going to have to write at your desk at some point. Even if you type most of your stuff, you're going to have to write at some point. So there are certain things, like if you have your power cord for your laptop, why you don't have that plugged in ahead of time, and you have to go into your backpack or go into your briefcase and go get it in the other room. I think the prepared piece, they say what chance favors a prepared mind. So it's like, as you live in that world, the better results you're going to get is by the more prepared you are. Excuse me.
I agree 100%. We could do a check right now. Like, I've got hydration right here. I've got notifications right here. I've got my pen right here. I've got my notebook right here. I've got my whiteboard for when I'm working on things or taking, erasable notes. Everything is within hand that I could possibly need in a sales-oriented meeting for success. So ask yourself that question. Anything that I need, is it within a hands, without, moving around? I did all of that without really moving my torso, because that would be distracting. If I'm doing this, picking up this or plugging this in over there, people notice those things. And we're going to talk in another subsequent training about jurisdiction. And I'll say this about jurisdiction. It's hard to gain and easy to lose. So your credibility or trust, it can be the same thing. One slight thing can cause the person to, wait, I thought I trusted them. Do I trust them? What are they doing? I know I'm being a little bit overboard, but the point is, if you have control over it, take control of it, and you have control over your environment.
Well, that's exactly it. If you work and work and work to gain trust, you think about somebody before you go, man, I really trust Joe, right? Who are the people you trust most? Man, I really trust Joe. How long did it take Joe to get that level of trust with you? more than likely it was a significant amount of time, and depending on the level of trust, it's a massive thing. But all of a sudden, if Joe did something that was not ethical or not in alignment with that, it's gone immediately.
And some of these things, as we're talking about this, it's just design it with intention. It is within your control, so take advantage of that.
Yep.
You know, stack the chips in your favor, if you will. So I've talked with a lot of people about this, so I just want to give you some practical how-tos, because this can feel a little bit daunting and a little bit overwhelming when you, especially if you are in and are used to a cluttered environment, and you're like, man, I like this idea, I want to change this. It can feel a little overwhelming. So this is the task list, if you will. Typically, I like to think from small to big. And I've walked a lot of people through this who've suffered from this for a long time. And the way that you start is start with your literal desktop, your digital desktop on your computer. If you were to close everything down and just look at all the icons and everything that are on your computer, is that cluttered or is it organized? It can be busy, but organized. That's okay. But is there structure to it? Or if you just save to desktop, and you've got screenshots and you've got files and you've got folders and you've got all over the place, is that representative of organization in your life? So start there, start small, organize it, have a professional screen image. Is your image, like if everything got closed down in your computer, is your desktop image, the wallpaper or background, is it a professional image? Put something up that looks good, looks clean. Do you have your shortcuts or extensions that are there easily accessible? Do you have all of your digital tools? This could be extensions on Chrome, for example. Do you have everything within, like I've got for example, I have a document that I use probably, I'm guessing 5 to 6 times a day that I have to pull the same document up, but I don't need it open all the time. So I have that as a shortcut on my Chrome, and I click on that. I can copy and paste whatever I need to. It's usually for messaging. And so I can pop that in there. Very easy to use, very distraction free. Once you get that organized, then you can look at, it's like your vision opens up and you're like, oh, wow, my desk is a mess. So do you have your nutrition and hydration? Is it clutter free? Do you have all your necessary tools within reach like we were talking about? Is it ergonomically designed? I've got I don't know if you'll be able to see this, an ergonomic mouse. So is your repetitive motion going to cause physical harm to your body? Well, they have ergonomic keyboards and they have ergonomic mouse. If you're using that all the time, be intentional with it. Do you have all your adapters, your power supply? Is your desk in an organized manner? And then lastly, your office or surrounding, whatever room you're operating in. Is there good lighting? Is there good sound? If you're using a camera, invest in a good camera that you can use for Zoom or whatever the meeting might be. Do you have a headset or a phone that is noise reducing and can do that? And do you have a good microphone? So these things are, once you start to pay attention to it, you can start to notice it everywhere. The beauty is, again, how you do anything is how you do everything. If you get very organized in this manner, that's going to spill into every aspect of your life. So keep this up, and it'll start, this organization and clutter-free environment starts to invade your life in the best way possible.
I'd like to go back to the desk piece for a little bit. So I've gotten used to, over the last, I don't know, maybe 10 years, desks that rise up and down, that go up and down. And so, when you're sitting down for an extended period of time, it's really unhealthy for you. It's really not a good thing.
It's the new smoking, right? That's what they say.
It is. They say it's a new smoking. So I make it a habit of multiple times throughout the day is raising my desk up and down. And I mean, you can get them at Costco for pretty reasonably cheap. But I think it's really important to go up and down. And I've had staff members that were on endo boards and things like that while they're in conversations, and they're not correct because you have to lean over and get it. But obviously you have endo board. But the reality is that standing up and down, creating your environment, having a fan on you, things like that is really a huge. Not only does it help your health, but it helps your conversation. If you notice that you don't smile a lot when you're on phones, you get very serious, put a mirror in front of you. We've used that tool for years and years and years, and it makes you smile when you see that you're frowning and you look mad. then you go, oh man, I really have to get out of this.
Right.
So you want to create that environment for yourself for sure.
And I think, Josh, we learned something a while ago, as you're analyzing, should I or should I not have or do this X, Y, or Z thing? And the criteria was, does it help me? Does it hurt?
Oh, so glad you brought that up.
Or is it neutral? So if it's going to help you, obviously, yes, use it, do it, whatever it is. Like, that's an easy decision. Where it gets sticky or tricky is it neutral or does it hurt me? If something obviously is hurting you, cut it out. But the hard thing to realize is if it's neutral, it's not helping you, cut it out as well. There's so many things that they just exist there without intention or purpose. When you start to get intentional about this, I'm telling you, it's radical what this can do in your life. When you show up in a physical space, and you'll answer those questions when you're going through it, but a physical space that feels welcoming and inviting with intention to other people, you feel different as you show up. Like before, with my background, I was embarrassed by it. It was cluttered. It was not intentional. It was just kind of space for me to be in. And then one day I basically just made the decision. I'm like, this is going to change. And I'm going to be intentional about it. And when you do that, you feel different.
And this is my third background, right? So I keep on trying to figure out what I like because I got tired. Like the first one was unintentional, like you were saying. It was just like, here it is. Second one was not professionally done. It just didn't feel as good. So I'm still, constantly reiterating or iterating and figuring out what I want to do with it so that I feel good about it. And when you sit in front of it and you're proud of what your environment looks like, it makes all the difference in your presentations too.
It really does. It will come through. So these are kind of some things for you to think about. There are many, many more if you want to get granular on it. There's no end to the level of perfection that you can pursue in making this an excellent environment. So enough with the physical environment. I'll give, actually, I'm going to go back just for a second, not on the screen, but just in conversation. Lighting is an important thing. If you're using Zoom or Google Hangouts or anything like that, having a great camera is really important. It says so much. And we're going to talk about communication styles down the road. I think two modules down the road, we're going to be talking about communication. And the visual and nonverbal communication is really important. Having a clear audio and a clear video is really important. Lighting is critical. So I'm going to give you just a quick tip on this. You can buy lighting kits, like a 2-piece lighting kit for like less than $100. Right now I have 2 very bright lights that are coming at me. And I bought this whole kit and studied how to lay it out best. This one is almost exactly eye level, 45 degrees off of me this way. This one is up here, 45 degrees coming down at me. My office, Josh can tell you, it could be midnight and we're having a conversation. It will look exactly like this. If it's in the middle of the day, it looks exactly like this. That's intentionally set up because I have windows all around my office that produces different lighting environments throughout the day. This I can control. So when you're being intentional about this, setting up your office, that's a quick tip on lighting. Buy a lighting kit, get it set up, or you can follow Josh's advice.
No, so it wasn't advice. I was going to say, I'm going to take my makeup off for a second so you can see the difference. And so I still have a light above me, and I still have a light that normally when I was sitting and working, it'd be totally fine. But when I turn off this light, this will show you the difference. So if I were working in this environment, wouldn't be the end of the world, but it's definitely not ideal. And a lot of people would just go, oh, well, this is the best light I have. And I could easily work in this all day, and it's very nice on my eyes, and it's very good to work from. But it is a completely different environment. And I didn't do anything but just press the button. But you can get the ones, Joe was saying, the $100 or less than $100. I have one of those ring lights that you can put your cell phone on or whatever else. I don't know, Joe, I think it was like 25 or 30 bucks.
Yeah,
so,
and they call them, they're literally a circle. They're called beauty lights because they hit your face from like all the perfect angles to make it work for you. So ring light or beauty light, lighting kit, whatever you want to do. We can get more granular down the road into this. Maybe we'll do a whole training on just setting up your office for video.
Tools and things that you need. Absolutely.
That's right. So physical environment, let's wrap that up. It's super important. Do not ignore this. Don't just let the things that have plagued you with clutter keep going. Dive into it, fix it. Once you do, I promise you'll feel so much better. So let's shift to mental environment. As important as the physical is, mental, I would put it 10 times more important. So please don't miss what we're about to share with you. You can get your head right every single time, and we're going to show you a few tricks to get that. And I love this image on the right here. Man, you know, that one on the right with those gears just working properly, everything, versus the way, honestly, the way that the vast majority of human beings operate is this image on the left. So Josh, will you talk about pre-shot routine, where the phrase comes from, and just about it real briefly?
Well, you know, there are a couple of different places where it comes from. I mean, the way I look at it is, you know, if you look at a basketball player, like literally the pre-shot, when they're about to do a foul shot, free throw, and they sit there and they bounce it 3 times and they spin the ball and they do this with their hands,
Right.
and they do this, and then they go up and shoot it. They do it every single time. And what happens is your body gets used to a rhythm. Your body gets used to the same thing that you do every single time. So you're basically telling your body, you're telling your mind how to act. And as opposed to it just being like willy-nilly and, oh yeah, you know, I'm just going to go up. I mean, how many times have you run into a meeting when the clock is about to change and you like slide into your chair, you know, and you're like all over the place. You're walking in.
Right.
All right, I'm here, I'm ready to go. That is the worst way to start anything. You know, and it's like I've said, I was just coaching somebody on interviewing the other day, somebody that's just part of my world. And I said, when you get there, I want you to show up a half hour early. And she's like, that's really early. And I said, yeah. And what if there's a half hour of traffic? And she's like, oh.
Yeah.
I said, so do you feel like it's better for you to start an interview, which by the way, you don't have one every day for the job that you're looking for, right? She has like 1 a month, maybe 2 a month. I'm like, you should be there 4 hours early.
Why not?
Look at the whole environment and meet everybody outside as they're walking in. Like, why do we not prepare for like that? So it's just a process where you get everything in alignment. I shouldn't say just, because that kind of minimizes it, but you get everything in place where you need it and where you know it should be. And you have your screens up and you know what screen you're using if you're using multiple screens. If you have a script, your script is in front of you. Everything that you need, you're not pulling it up last minute. The reality is that we all know what we need to do and how we need to prepare for things, right? If I said, what do you need to have on a call? What do you potentially need to have on a call? You probably know. If you've been at the company for more than a week, you should have an idea of what you should have in your environment, right? But the sad part is, Joe, most people just don't do it. They just don't take the 2 minutes to do it.
And if you want to be average, no problem. Keep doing that. If you truly want to be, you know, one of Josh and my kind of internal goals, you know, that we talk about is we want to create sales ninjas, not sales black belts, not sales martial artists. We want to create sales ninjas. And so if you want to get to that level where you are ninja level status in sales, this has got to be part of it. And to the degree with which you can control things. And so it's this, the pre-shot routine is almost the marrying between the physical and the mental environment. You're using your body to do something in a habitual or ritualistic manner that causes your brain to engage in a certain way. And so, you know, the truth is we can't control everything. So you might say, hey, I've got a meeting at 2 o'clock and it's across town. It's going to take me 30 minutes to drive there. Therefore, I'm going to leave an hour early, but I didn't expect there to be a freeway shutdown, and it took me an hour to get there. Now you are sliding in sideways into that meeting, but take a moment. It's worth it. I think Abraham Lincoln was the one that said this. He said, if I had a half hour to chop down a tree, I'd take 25 minutes to sharpen my axe. And so this is along that mindset. It's like, take the moment to get yourself clear, to get yourself centered, to get yourself ready to do this. So the pre-shot routine, as we've identified, is a simple process that takes less than 2 minutes to implement, and it's designed to create a specific mindset going into any meeting, call, or interaction. It could be with whatever it might be. So I want to show you how to create, or do you have something else to add, Josh?
No, I was just going to say, think mind, body, and environment, right? So this isn't just a checklist that you want to go through. This isn't just oh, I'm going to get my energy right. When I used to go on, when I was in real estate, I used to go on listing appointments. And as I drove up, I would drive up and I would be down the street. I would play music. I would play like ZZ Top Money or whatever it was that was one of my feel-good songs, Eye of the Tiger or whatever, right? And I'd get my hands going, and I'd get everything going, I'd get my energy going, and I'd say affirmations out loud, and I'd get pumped up and ready to go, put a huge smile on my face, and walk up and knock on the door with authority, not like a police officer, right? But that they knew I was there, and they knew I was there for business. And I went with energy and attitude and focus and the rest of that, and it changed everything. You can change the environment of wherever you are. If you are the stronger part, if your environment is stronger than that which is around you, your environment will start to change that around you, if that makes sense.
Right. Yes, totally. Well, and so you might be asking the question, awesome, I'd love to have a pre-shot routine. It's not as simple as, like you said, basketball. I think basketball and golf are the two best physical sports analogies for it. So it's, how do you as a salesperson develop your pre-shot routine? So we've got a little formula for you here. So I'm going to go through this, and then I'm going to give you an example that I use for myself. So first step is organize your goals into an easy to digest format. This could be like, if you have it in your office, you can have it as what do they call it? A dream board, or
dream board, yeah.
Vision board. So it might be like images. You can digest that so quickly. You know what it means, right? You've got the picture of, whatever it might be. So you have that. That's how I used it for a long time. That was my physical embodiment of my goals. I can look at it in 13 seconds or less. The entire board, I can really visualize that. It's right. It's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Step number 2, create an image in your mind of anything is possible. I should put quotes around anything is possible. So for me, well, I'll get into what that means, but create an image of what that looks like for you. And you'll understand that when I go through my example. Number 3, brief meditation, prayer, or activity to ground yourself, whatever that looks like. Maybe if you're a yoga person, you do a downward dog stretch. I don't know what it's going to look like, but find a way to ground yourself from all the chaos and things that could be going on. Whatever just happened as you got off the last call just before this one, you need to center and ground yourself. And so have some brief meditation, prayer, activity to ground yourself.
It's as simple as a couple deep breaths like that. Yeah. I get it. It can be massive. It can be 5 minutes of yoga and a handstand or whatever. Like, you could do whatever you want. But it's as easy as 5 really deep, full breaths where you're breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth 5 times, and you're good to go. I'm not. If you haven't done that recently, one of my favorite parts of my Apple Watch is it tells me when to breathe. So every hour or whatever it is, it says time to breathe, and as I do it, it makes me go. And it goes for 60 seconds or something. And every single time I'm like, I love this watch. This is really cool.
That's how important it is. I mean, it's
really important.
Something, some way to do that. For a lot of people, meditation, now you might think, oh, I've got to do some Zen meditation for a half hour. No, that's not what I'm talking about. It could be a meditation exercise that you go through, whatever it might be. Ground yourself with this. Yep. Number 4, and I'll take a second to explain this. Visualize, because we want to cement in our mind and our body, right? Our mind and our body and our environment, greatest chance of success. Visualize the strongest physical moment you've ever experienced in your life. And I'll tell you about mine in a moment, but whatever that might have been 30 years ago for you, or it might have been 3 days ago. It doesn't matter. Visualize you physically the strongest moment of your life? I promise you, think about it right now. Think back in your life. When was the moment that you felt the very strongest? And if you visualize that and think about it, it will change your physiology. Your physiology will actually change. Your endorphins will change, all the chemicals that are going on, just even thinking about it. So you'll visualize that strongest moment. Number 5, develop a physical repetitive action to engage your best way of being. And Josh and I are going to talk with you at length about way of being on, is it the next training that we're doing that, Josh? I think it's the next.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry?
training number 2. Yeah, in training number 2, we're going to talk with you about way of being. And so we want you to develop some physical repetitive action to engage your best way of being. I'll tell you about mine in a second. If you watch any of the documentaries on Tony Robbins, he's a great embodiment of this. I think he bangs his chest 3 times before he goes on stage and does a 360 and then walks out onto stage. That creates this. It's a physical repetitive action to engage your best way of being. And then number 6, take the shot. So for a salesperson, it might be jumping on a call. It might be entering a meeting, a sales meeting. It could be a physical meeting or a coffee with somebody. Whatever your shot is, you take the shot.
Love it.
So I've got an example of mine. I'll walk you through it. It's very explanatory now that I've gone through that. So I review my goals. I visualize my matrix space where I can create anything I want to create. This comes from the movie The Matrix. If you haven't seen that, you really should see it. It's one of the best movies ever. But there's a moment where they're in the Matrix and Neo, the main character, is about to go into battle. And he's like, we're going to need guns, lots of guns. And all of a sudden in this, it's literally blank white space as far as you can see. And then up rushes all of these rows and rows and rows of weapons that he can choose from. To me, it's not about the weapons. It's about, I can conjure up anything from this space. So for me, that's what my matrix space is. That's where anything is possible. For me personally, I pray for wisdom, clarity of mind, peace, and favor. So I literally take a moment and I pray for those things. Then I visualize my moment of strength. For me, this was a moment where I was rock climbing with some friends. One of my friends was not tied in. He was not in a rope. He was up about 40 feet on a ledge. Where we were climbing was in Joshua Tree, which is very sharp granite rock. And so we had our fingers taped up with athletic tape. It wasn't climbing tape. And so all of a sudden he's out here he's probably 20 to 30 feet away from me and up about 30 feet. Long story short, I had to throw a rope to him that landed on his shoulder as he's holding onto the cliff. And I can see his fingers sliding out of the tape because of sweat that was accumulating. He bites the rope. And as he's falling, grabs onto the rope, and I have to stand there and hold him. And it's like, I felt like I could have held up a ton. To me, that's if I think about the strongest physical moment of my life, that's it. And when I think about that, man, I get like jacked up. Like just thinking about it, I'm like, I am a beast. I am a physical beast. So that's my moment of strength. And then for me, it's simply take a deep breath in. And as I exhale, I smile because our physiology changes when we smile. So for me, it's like, I'm excited to be here. And then boom, I dial and I'm ready to go.
You're ready to dial now.
I'm ready to go. Let's do it. Let's do it. Who needs something? So I want to encourage you to create your own pre-shot routine that you can use on a repetitive basis for any of your activities. By the way, you might have multiple pre-shot routines, right? Yep. LeBron James has got his basketball one, but I bet LeBron James plays golf and he doesn't do the same pre-shot routine for golf as he does for a free throw. So you might have So we want you to create your own pre-shot routine so that you can have success in everything that you're doing.
Absolutely.
Anything else to add, Josh, before we close out this training?
No, just really, really take a look at this, and enjoy it, chew on it. And, if you start to just change even a few of these things, your entire environment and energy and everything will improve.
And to me, what this comes down to is being intentional. control that which you can control. To the extent that it is in your control, do what you can to set yourself up for success. Again, chance favors the prepared mind. When you can prepare. It'll serve you well in the long run. So keep an eye out for our next training. We're looking forward to showing you some great stuff here on out. And as always, we're here to help.